I was walking it throughout the day. Coming back at night, the trail looked completely different. It had me think.
Some environments push people to their limits, where isolation and extreme conditions leave no room for error. A solo camper endures brutal cold at high altitude as temperatures drop to dangerous levels, while another wakes to find the ice around his island melting, cutting off his only way out. When survival depends on your next move, would you stay calm or make the wrong decision under pressure? On December 24th, 2022, the YouTube channel Outdoor Boys, recognized for extreme camping survival techniques and remote backcountry expeditions, uploaded a video titled "Minus 26 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 32 degrees Celsius solo camping at 11,500 feet." In the Snowmass region near White River National Forest, Luke began his solo journey at 8,500 feet above sea level. What starts as a winter camping outing quickly turns into a challenge of endurance in thin air and severe cold.
All right, we're gonna put on skis for the first time in 25 years. And these are tech bindings too, so never used those before. We'll see what happens. All right. Yep, that happens. This is humbling. In my mind, I'm still 19 years old and tearing out black diamonds. I'm really rusty. It's coming back to me. Oh, I forgot how excruciatingly cold ski lifts are. Well, I've been planning all summer to do some extreme high elevation camping and backcountry skiing. Elevation sickness affects different people differently. Sometimes you get nausea and headaches, and it's a lot like carbon monoxide poisoning, which can be really dangerous if you're out by yourself and your judgment gets impaired. All right, guys, we're at a little over 11,000 feet, and it is cold. My face hurts. Didn't bite it getting off the ski lift. That was my big goal for the day. It's a lot of work. Oh, I'm feeling old and tired, but it sure is pretty. Look at this. All right, this is the other reason I came to Snowmass. This is the ski boundary. Everything on this side of the rope is part of the ski resort. And you can camp in National Forest. So now we just gotta find a good spot to cross and to camp. There we go. Now I've got cross-country skis. And just like that, I'm off in the mountains all by myself. This is amazing.
It had been 25 years since he had last skied. He relied on cross-country skis to search for a suitable campsite around 11,500 feet. Before entering the national forest, he described the dangers of altitude sickness. Impaired judgment at that height could be hazardous.
All right, so I got my backpack all packed up, got all my camping gear in here now. Oh, look at this. I think this might be where I need to set up camp. Now, luckily, this snow is pretty hard packed, so. Whew. Right now, I'm at 11,500 feet. And anytime you get over 10,000 feet above sea level, you have shortness of breath. So I'm just taking it easy. Shoveling a little bit, rested. Well, I dug myself a nice little hole here. You see here, I finally hit dirt. All right, got the tent up and the sun's just barely disappearing over the mountains. Once that sun goes down, it is gonna get really cold. So I have no clue how cold it's gonna get up here at 11,500 feet.
After choosing an appropriate campsite location, he went back to the resort to collect his equipment, then headed into White River National Forest for the night. The temperature was already dropping and the sun was gradually setting. He dug a hole nearly 6 feet deep to create level ground for his tent. While digging, he carefully checked the snow layers to identify the most stable base.
You know, if you're gonna go winter camping in the mountains, don't bring propane or butane. It'll freeze up on you so easily, which is basically unleaded fuel or petrol. Now that's cooking. All right, let's get some. So check out, the water's boiling at 195 degrees. Because we're so high above sea level, the air pressure is lower and the water boils at a lower temperature. I don't want my food to cool down, so I'm gonna keep it in here. All right. My finger just froze to my spoon. We're gonna try some beef stew. Oh, that tastes amazing. All right, that's it. This is how you do the dishes when it's cold out. All right, that's good. Got some orange zest herbal tea. I gotta tell you, it smells like the best thing in the world right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was the best thing I've ever drank. I just spilled boiling water on my hands and it didn't hurt. That's how cold I am. I'm gonna go put this hot water in my sleeping bag, get it warmed up. All right, I got these adhesive body warmers. I'm gonna bust some of these out, stick them on my undershirt. Oh, my toes are so numb right now. And I've got my hot water bottle down in the bottom of my bag. I can barely feel it. But what I can feel feels good. Guys, it is no joke cold right now. And it says it's -17 on this mountain right now. Well, it's only about 6 o'clock, not quite my bedtime yet. So I'm gonna put on some audiobooks and eat some licorice. Oh, that's so frozen. All right, guys. Well, guys, it's about 10 o'clock and my cell phone says it's -24 degrees outside. I hung my glasses at the top of the tent and look how much frost is gathered up on it. It's pretty late, so I think I'm going to turn this off. I'll give you guys updates in the morning. Good morning. Oh, it was so cold last night.
Once the tent was assembled, the temperature began to fall quickly. He cooked dinner using a white gas stove. As night fell, the cold grew more intense. Inside the tent, moisture from his breath froze instantly against the fabric walls. Each time he shifted or sat up, the frozen layer loosened and fell like tiny ice crystals onto his face and sleeping bag. By morning, he had endured a harsh night in extreme conditions. His body was heavily numb from the cold. He struggled to prepare breakfast and pack his gear before skiing back toward the resort. Fortunately, even though his feet felt almost frozen, he avoided serious injury. This journey shows how intense cold and high elevation can turn ordinary camping into a true survival test. Preparation made the difference. At -32 degrees Celsius and 11,500 feet, would you rely on yourself to stay composed and think clearly alone? In February 2025, YouTuber Out with a Fin travels across a frozen sea to camp on an isolated island. But when he wakes up the next morning, he realizes he may have made a serious mistake. A blizzard is expected that evening, so he rushes to set up his tent before it hits.
I will take you to that island there. It's approximately 4 kilometers. Can't let the nice weather fool you because it is supposed to turn into a blizzard this evening. Yeah, I was searching for a while but couldn't find a safe spot. I'm just going to put the tent next to that outside fireplace. Yeah, right here. Today we are going to try out a brand new hot tent.
The following morning, he goes out to explore and discovers something troubling. The ice surrounding the island has begun to melt. He urgently searches for a way off, knowing he could be stranded with only 1 or 2 days of food left.
I can see the snowstorm approaching me. I want to stay close to the island because if I go there to this blizzard, I will most definitely get lost. Go outside, they said. It will be fun, they said. This is just so bad. The weather has turned into this really harsh icy rain. It is hurting my face. I've been here like 4 hours. It's time to head back to the tent. I can't see almost anything here. This side is surrounded with water. Now there's way too much water on the ice. And that just continues that way. Whew. Okay, I'm safe now, but I need to go through those rocks. That is quite the wind. Now all my clothes are getting wet because it's plus degrees inside here. I need to get the stove going and put my clothes to dry. I learned this trick in the military. You should always have some wire around your pencil. Make hooks to which I can attach my clothes to. Now I just need to put the stove on and those will dry up there real nicely. Oh, this is just so nice. Put these here on the stove to melt. Some hot chocolate. The blizzard turned into rain. It's currently just raining outside. I can have my morning coffee or hot chocolate like right now and also have my phone at night. I can already tell you that I'm really happy I bought this tent. I'm going to fry these potatoes on a pan with loads of butter, garlic and onions. I'm having a deer steak and I have some red wine sauce I made yesterday. Oh. It's almost like sauna. It's plus 35 here. That is looking so good. Oh, I'm having a romantic dinner here by myself. It smells so good in here. I'm getting really hungry. Now would you look at that? This is what I call camping food. Cheers. Perfectly cooked. Oh yeah. It is just so soft. So good and tender. The last piece, it was so good. Finished it all. I was thinking earlier this year that I would love to have a hot tent even in the winter. And here I am. Dreams do come true. I kind of want to go explore the island a bit. I want to go see how bad the wind is on the other end of the island. I think that's a fox because they go in such a straight line. Oh! It is crazy windy here. This is some serious wind. The coast is just filled with water. I hope the side where I came from is not on water. I really want to get out of here tomorrow. Okay. As you can see, there is a lot of water surrounding the island. If I cannot walk away from here tomorrow, I need to go and find a place where I can cross the water. The ice is like totally melted from the coast. This is not good. This is not good. But I don't know if that makes any difference because if it's not below zero, this won't freeze. It will be there even after a day.
At last he discovers a dangerous route and carefully crosses over slushy ice and open water until he reaches solid ground again. He manages to leave the island safely.
That is looking just so good. Come on, check out that breakfast. Oh, that's super good. That's done. And now I got some dessert. I made Kinder pie. Everything is just better outdoors. I think it's time to start packing and figure out a way to get out of the island. Before going off with the sled, I'm actually going to search for a spot where I will cross over. I don't own a boat. It would be super nice to come here in the summer. I think I might go from there or from here. Let's check this out. Okay, there is... Oh, not gonna come here. I have a bad feeling that when I step on that, my feet will go through the ice. There's only one way to find out. Oh, there's so much snow. Yeah, I might have a route to freedom. Woo! Let's go. Oh, it flipped again. I'm not going to attach the sled to my belt yet, because if I sink through this ice, I don't want to be attached to the sledge. I made it. But like I said, I know it looks scary, and it definitely feels scary. There is still the 40 centimeters of ice underneath there. Bye bye island. I'm in cover from most of the wind, so I think I'm going to try some ice fishing. I'm just going to get myself energized, and I must admit that I was pretty scared that I truly thought that I might be stuck there. But thankfully I got out there safely.
Camping on a frozen island and waking up surrounded by water changes everything. The danger is not only being trapped, but realizing your only way out depends on a single risky choice. Would you trust the ice beneath your feet, or stay and hope it lasts one more day? In this clip posted by the channel Jim Mason on January 20th, 2017, what appears to be a routine descent down the mountain suddenly turns into a heavy collision. On the slopes, incidents occur in an instant. One moment you're gliding downhill with control, and the next you're lying on the snow in pain, or worse, completely motionless. Situations like this reveal how quickly control can vanish even during a normal run. It takes only a single second for everything to shift. If you were there, would you respond fast enough, or would it take you by surprise too? The account comes from Mandog Wild, an outdoor bushcraft channel focused on solo wilderness camping and deep forest exploration. On April 12, 2020, the creator headed into a remote woodland in the United Kingdom to spend the night alone. Before he even finished setting up his shelter, he shared a local story tied to that exact area. Two hunters had reportedly encountered a tall, dark figure standing partially hidden in the brush. What made the story linger wasn't just what they saw, it was what happened next. Both men suddenly developed intense headaches. At the exact same moment, the figure appeared just before it disappeared completely. No evidence, no confirmation, but enough to shape the mood. He chose to stay anyway.
So I guess it would have been round about now, dusk, that our hero would have encountered, would have had that encounter. Dusk, dawn, are probably the creepiest times when out here in the wilderness. You know, things just look different. They do look different than during the day. I remember walking a trail once. I was walking it throughout the day. Coming back at night, the trail looked completely different. It had me thinking, is this the right way? It's just gotten really windy all of a sudden. We're going to be in for a bit of a breezy night.
Later that night, something changed. Several lights appeared in the sky above him, moving together in a tight formation. They were too far away to capture clearly on camera, but visible enough to stand out against the darkness. His first thought was satellites, specifically Starlink, which seemed like a reasonable explanation at the time.
I checked the Starlink tracker this morning, and according to that, it wasn't Starlink last night. And I've seen Starlink before, long line, lots of lights. This wasn't like that. This was a very much shorter line, maybe 6, 7 lights close together.
The next morning, that explanation didn't hold. He used a satellite tracking tool to check what had passed overhead during that time frame. Nothing matched, no scheduled movement aligned with what he had seen, and the tight cluster of lights didn't match the long, evenly spaced pattern typically associated with Starlink. The explanation he had relied on no longer fit. The rest of the night had been uneventful wind forest sounds, isolation. Nothing approached, nothing moved on the ground. But the focus of the experience had quietly shifted upward, because what he observed in the sky was the one detail that resisted a clear answer. Not proven, not explained. Just something witnessed that didn't match what it was expected to be. The Starlink theory was the most logical starting point, and even that didn't hold up. Something was in the sky that night, and the tracker showed nothing. What do you think those lights were, and would you have stayed in that spot after hearing the story about the hunters? Ghost Theory are two adventurers and paranormal enthusiasts traveling across the UK in search of locations known for unusual activity, aiming to separate fact from legend. The video was uploaded on April 12th, 2026. The name may suggest otherwise, but these two do not stage scares. Their approach focuses on real exploration and historical context instead of reacting to every shadow sound or movement. In this particular video, though, they decided to camp in what many consider the most haunted forest in the entire UK, and what they encountered had nothing to do with the paranormal.
We've just arrived here in this beautiful forest, and obviously being the day, it's not so bad, but we're going to be exploring this forest to try and get to all the most haunted areas.
Epping Forest has stood here for thousands of years, once serving as a royal hunting ground for kings and nobles. This forest wasn't just a wilderness, it was dangerous. Outlaws used these woods as cover, disappearing into the trees after robberies along nearby roads.
There have been so many places for people to hide.
I mean, it still is currently 600 acres, but during Dick Turpin's time, this would have been more like 20,000.
That's bigger than it is now.
Epping Forest has existed for thousands of years. It once served as a royal hunting ground, used by kings and the nobility during medieval times. This was never just a quiet stretch of woodland. Outlaws, highwaymen, and smugglers all used these trees as cover, slipping into the forest after carrying out robberies on nearby roads. Darkness came on quickly. Before long, the two were moving along the forest trail in the dark, searching for a suitable place to set up their tent and settle in for the night.
Just heard what sounds like a bottle.
Does it sound like rustling?
I mean, here is
Yeah.
very, very campsite-y.
It's so silent here. Do you know, they say just everything dies here. Like, the sound dies, things don't live. And it is just silent. It's been so noisy.
You're right.
That is bizarre, isn't it?
We got the campsite set up as quick as possible so that we could begin investigating straight away. This is a time lapse, but not actually that quick.
Once camp was established, they moved through the trees to see if anything out of the ordinary was happening. They spent a considerable amount of time doing that. Nothing stood out. They made their way back to the tent to relax, and that is when the atmosphere changed.
Someone else. The red light was still on. Was it? Come on. Is it recording? Yeah. I'm going to turn my light on because... Wow. That is...
Footsteps were heard just outside the tent. They stepped out to look around. Nothing was visible. Whatever had made the sound was either gone or no longer nearby, or so they believed. They turned on an infrared thermometer to scan the tree line for heat signatures. What showed up on the device was enough to send them both running.
Is that heat signatures in the water?
I don't know. It's just the log, isn't it?
Look. Can you see?
Where is that?
That's just across, literally straight across where the lights were coming from.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's enough for me to know.
Yeah,
That is absolutely more than fucking enough for me to know.
that's someone. That's someone there.
Hello?
A figure of a man was visible behind a tree across from them, partially hidden, watching. The two immediately connected him to the footsteps they had heard circling the tent earlier. The history of that forest made his presence feel far more threatening than it might have elsewhere. They grabbed their gear and left without hesitation. The possibility that the man followed their movement all the way to the forest edge made the whole situation worse. Places like this carry real risk, and the danger is not always the kind that legends warn you about. A man hiding in the dark, watching two people at their tent, is difficult to explain away as curiosity. The The forest has a long history of people using it to stay out of sight, and that context does not make the sighting any less unsettling. Do you think he was just a stranger passing through, or was there something more deliberate about the way he was watching them? At first glance, duck hunting seems like one of the safer types of hunting, mainly because it doesn't require traveling deep into remote wilderness, where encounters with large predators are a constant concern. However, like any outdoor activity, it comes with its own hidden risks. Something Ethan from the Lucas Ranks YouTube channel experienced firsthand in November 2020. While hunting ducks alone early in the morning, just as the sun was rising, he had been positioned on a beach for several hours waiting for birds to gather. After successfully shooting a duck, it landed farther out in the water than expected, and without a boat, Ethan had no option but to wade in to retrieve it. Unfamiliar with the lake, he didn't realize there was a sudden drop-off just a few feet from shore. As he stepped forward, the ground vanished beneath him, and he began struggling to stay afloat. Although he knew how to swim, his water-filled waders quickly became the real danger, pulling him down and severely limiting his movement. With each passing second, the risk of drowning increased, made worse by the freezing water that threatened hypothermia and caused his muscles to tighten. Being completely alone meant there was no one to help or call for assistance, leaving calm decision-making as his only chance. Using all his strength, Ethan managed to fight his way back toward shore, eventually finding an underwater ledge and pulling himself out with only minor physical injuries. While his composure and determination clearly played a role, many believe luck was just as important. Do you think this situation highlights the need for preparation and never hunting alone, or was survival here decided by a single fortunate moment? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.